Live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and blasttheradio.com. This is The Lowell Green Show. The number to call and be heard around the world is 613-413-2217. Or email Lowell at blasttheradio.com. And now, here is Lowell Green.
Thank you, John. So you're blaming your cat for all of your technical problems? Is that what happened here?
Can I blame the damn cat? Can I blame somebody? You have no idea the hell I've been through the last few hours, sir.
You got some software that malfunctioned, am I right?
Latest update to our video streaming software, and it just won't load. It will not fire up. Anyway.
Sue him.
Yeah, don't you know who I'm working for? Anyway, there we are. We're live with seconds to spare.
I have a number of topics here. My number one question is this, and I'm listening. I'm talking to my listeners now and viewers. What responsibility do you think we in Canada have to provide a safe haven for those in Afghanistan who helped us in the war against the Taliban? Now, Trudeau says that we'll find those who helped us, excuse me, and somehow or other, we'll get them to Canada. He's also said at some point, I'm very confused on this, that he will also bring over family members. And yet, at the same time, we are hearing from family members here that it's just not happening. So whether there is a delay, but I'd just like to know what you think our responsibility is. These are people who have been translators for us, have fed us information. In some cases, apparently, have been maids, etc., that kind of a thing, runners for us, have worked for us in our fight against the Taliban. These people, very clearly, the Taliban is taking over Afghanistan very, very quickly. I mean, it's very clear that the Afghanistan army just can't hold them off. In fact, whether the army is even trying to hold off the Taliban is another question, which is, it's really tragic. I mean, John, when you stop and think about it, all of the lives, Canadian lives, American lives, other lives that were lost, trying to rid Afghanistan of the Taliban, to give people there, particularly women, a chance, to let women be educated, not to have them murdered because they showed an ankle, people slaughtered because they listened to music. That was life under the Taliban. And that's the way life will be under the Taliban again. But what responsibility do you think we have? And how far should that go? Should we include family members of those who helped us? Because from what we understand, if you've helped in the fight against Taliban, if you've helped the West in any way, not only will you die very cruelly, but your entire family will be slaughtered as well. So I don't know how far you think this should go, or if we have any responsibility at all. I repeat, it's tragic that Afghanistan itself can't deal with this. So it's very clear to me that there is very strong support in Afghanistan for the Taliban. I'm not sure how much support there is among women there. I mean, women are the ones who, for the most part, really suffer. But if people in Afghanistan won't defend themselves, won't defend their women, won't defend human rights, then maybe we did the right thing in getting out of there. Look, the fight that we carried out was a noble one. Our idea was to give people, particularly women in Afghanistan, some human rights, a chance at an education, a chance at a decent life. But very clearly, there is strong support for the Taliban, and perhaps the time has come for the Islamic world to deal with this. It seems to me that every time there is a problem in the Islamic world, and it seems that they are constantly having problems, that it's the West that's called in to fix it, to put the Band-Aid on. Well, very clearly, maybe it's time that the Islamic world dealt with this. But one thing is for sure, and it's tragic, there is going to be a slaughter in Afghanistan. That country will once again slide into a kind of rogue regime with no human rights, where every Saturday, as happened before, women are hanged for a public spectacle in the local soccer field because they showed an ankle or didn't look properly at a man or whatever it was. Terrible. I mean, it's to think that this kind of thing would go on in this year of our Lord, 2021, is astonishing. But you know what, folks? We did what we could. People died. It was a noble fight, but very clearly, people in Afghanistan, for the most part, don't want us there. They want the Taliban. So, your thoughts, please. John, once again, how to get in touch with us, please.
And I can promise you the phone is working today. 613-413-2217. If you're following on Facebook, if you're following on Twitch, if you're following on YouTube, the number is on your screen. Again, 613-413-2217. We welcome your calls. We do have some comments already, Lowell, if you're up for that.
Yeah, please.
All right, over on Twitch, Long Point Driver says, the Terps only made the deal to work with the Canadians to be brought back. They are targets and their families are targets. Cheryl says, we should bear the responsibility. We should bring them back here. Afghanistan is a mess right now. It's not safe anymore. Canada, do the right thing. Terry says, Canada owes these people protection for helping our service people. And says, such a waste to have Afghanistan go back to what it was after all that loss of life. Need to help those that helped our troops. And Joshua says, also to consider how, if it all does COVID affect that responsibility.
I don't think COVID has a relationship here, but I'm still not answering my question. How far, I mean, most people, I think, agree that we should help, but how far should we extend that help? The question is, should we be bringing the families of these people over, keeping in mind that some of these people have very large extended families? So how far should we go on this? Your thoughts. I have several other topics. I want to get to this one as well. We just got word that I'm having some difficulty with, that our children will be going back to school in the classrooms this fall. Hallelujah. I think most of you will agree with that. Many will have to wear masks. Some of you people may not agree with that. But what I find totally unacceptable is the fact that teachers and others, custodians, etc., janitors, who are working in close proximity to our children in enclosed classrooms will not have to be vaccinated. In my opinion, this places our children at risk. Now, the risk may be minimal. I don't know. With this new Delta variant, I'm not sure how minimal the risk is. But it just seems incomprehensible to me that we will tell our children, you've got to, I mean, that's the law. They have to go to school. So they've got to be in school, unless they're homeschooled, I guess. But for the most part, you've got to be in school. But at the same time, you're going to send teachers in there that are going to place those students at risk. And I don't understand it. It seems to me that if you're going to be a teacher or a healthcare worker, you're going to be working in close proximity to people, in many cases, people who have no choice but to be around you, that one of the conditions of employment should be you must be fully vaccinated. You must lower, it doesn't completely wipe out the risk, but it certainly lowers the risk dramatically. I don't understand. It's almost as if the politicians are afraid of alienating the unvaccinated. Well, what about those? I mean, I agree. If you don't want to be vaccinated, that's your right. I think it's unbelievable how stupid that decision is. But if that's your decision, you know, people have a right, legal right to be stupid. And some people exercise that right very, very profusely. But if you have a right not to be vaccinated, surely I, as a parent or grandparent, have a right to say, look, I don't want you around my students. You're a wonderful teacher. You know, I love you, all the rest of it. But if you're not vaccinated, and I repeat, and in an enclosed classroom for protracted periods of time, I don't think you should be teaching. I don't think you should be in those classrooms. But you may feel differently. I'd like to ask you a question in that regard. And when I'm talking about that, you know, people are always throwing out their rights. Well, yeah, okay, as I say, you've got a right not to be vaccinated. But what about the right of the employer to say, well, we don't want you here, or the right of parents or children, for that matter, to say, look, we don't want our children in a classroom with unvaccinated people. I mean, how far are you going to extend the rights? Let me ask you this. For example, surgeons who are going to perform a heart operation. Should they have the right to refuse to wash their hands? Oh, you think they should be compelled to wash that? But that's their right to say, no, I don't want to wash my hands. Okay, you don't want to wash your hands, but we have the right to say you can't perform that surgery. You're a doctor, a nurse. Do you have the right to say, I'm not going to wear a mask around these surgeries? I don't know. How far do you want to carry on the, let me ask you this. You go to a restaurant. Everywhere you go, if you go to a restaurant, you'll see in the washroom, there's signs all over the place. Employees must wash their hands after going to the bathroom. They're trained to do that. And if the employer catches them not washing their hands, they probably will lose their job. But what about the employer right? If the employer says, no, or the employee says, I don't want to wash my hands. I have every right to handle your food without washing my hands after going to the bathroom. Should they have that right? How far do you want to carry these rights? Julie, you're on the line. Go ahead, Julie, please.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Lowell. If you're a teacher or a custodian and you're taking care of children, you should be mandatory to get vaccinated. For example, I work at a dance studio, and it was mandatory for all the teachers and all the teachers' assistants to be vaccinated before we go back in September, because I would hate to make a child sick and that be my responsibility.
Yeah, the risk, as I say, may be minimal, and I'm sure that we'll get calls here and texts saying, well, it's a very minimal risk. But actually, if you're speeding and you pass a school bus, you're placing children at risk. Now, it may be very minor risk, but it's still a risk. We don't allow that. We do everything we can, supposedly, to protect our children in many different ways. We provide, schoolyard monitors, et cetera, but we're going to allow unvaccinated teachers into, as I say, enclosed classrooms for a protracted period of time. I don't understand it. Thank you for your call, Julie. I couldn't agree with you more. Yes, go ahead.
I was just going to say I agree with you, and maybe we shouldn't put our children at risk like that. So I agree with you, Lowell.
All right, thank you for the call. Thank you. John, any comments on this?
Yep. Just let me get that plugged back in. There we go. Okay, over to my comments section, we've got Peter says the West and East has been at war with each other in that country. Watch Charlie Wilson's War, true story, very telling. It's a sad situation. Bring back all the families who help Canadians who served there. Trudeau's government's department seem to slow down the process and allow them here. Teachers and support staff should be required to wear masks and vaxxed, period. So Peter getting into both conversations there.
How about healthcare workers as well? We compel doctors, nurses, etc., to wear masks around surgery, to wash their hands, and all of the equipment, of course, has got to be sterilized. Supposing someone says, "Well, you know what? I don't feel it's not part of my duty to sterilize the equipment here. So I want to put this new metal knee in this guy's leg. It doesn't have to be sterilized." Do you have the right to say that? Apparently, some people think you do. That these rights extend. But do you have the right to? Do you have a right to get in the car without a seatbelt? Do you have the right to get in a car and go 80 miles an hour over the speed limit? There are some limits. Do you have a right to run through a red light? There are some limits. The limits are imposed for public safety. My feeling is that it's a matter of public safety to ensure that there are fully vaccinated people teaching our children and working in healthcare. Shields. Yesterday, I talked briefly about the fact that they've got some very good financing deals, okay? If you're a little tight for money or money's coming in slowly, et cetera, whatever it is, there's some very good deals, including interest-free deals at Shields. This is, as I've told you many times, this is a very reputable firm. They've been around since 1947, extremely well known and highly regarded throughout the entire Ottawa Valley. Just now really making moves into the city. People are finding, hey, this is really great. They've got a huge warehouse, and which means that in all probability you get exactly what you want when you want it, and the prices are very, very competitive. Shields, check out, I've said this before. At the very least, give them a chance. Before you phone the box store, you want a new washer, dryer, whatever it is, give Shields a chance. They'll have whatever you want in your house. Maybe even they will install it, for goodness sake, depending on the appliance. They'll have it in 2 or 3 days. Check it out. And very competitive prices. At least at least check them out. Shields.ca. John, some more texts coming in.
Text from Bruce at 613-413-2217. Bruce says, we have a moral responsibility to get those who helped us in Afghanistan out of there and into a safe haven. Chris says, if there were no rules, regulations in place, things would be out of control. Chrissy says, I have a problem with that. Schools and anyone who will be working in these schools should be vaccinated. Period. Should be mandatory. Plus, any venues where people are gathering. Ann says, teachers not vaccinated work via video. David says, teachers would be Delta spreaders. Trudeau should have acted on this way before now, but then he did the same about COVID-19. And we have Craig saying that that's a stupid analogy, lol, but he hasn't explained what he's talking about.
What's the stupid analogy?
That's what I'm
Oh, probably, though, about the doctors. But if we're talking about rights, I mean, how far are you... If you say, well, I have a right not to be vaccinated and still be around other people, then what's to say that as a doctor, you don't have the right to forget washing your hands? Maybe you don't like washing your hands. It stings your hands. How far are you prepared? The point I'm trying to make here is that in most cases, we do everything we can to improve public safety. It's in the public good. As I say, we have rules concerning speeding, seatbelts, smoking. I could go on and on and on. All kinds of rules, red lights, green lights, stop signs. All of these are intended, don't pass a school bus. They are intended to lower risk to the lowest possible position. You're never going to eliminate risk entirely. No, of course not. But these rules are intended to lower the risk. And in most cases, they work if they're applied. Yes, John, more texts.
Yeah, dealing with the delay, of course, between when we talk live and when we get to Facebook. Craig says, yes, the doctors and restaurant workers was the analogy he was talking about. Joshua says, rights are not always free of consequences, and we do have a text. And again, the number here is 613-413-2217. This person says, those teachers that don't get vaccinated can work from home for the families who want their kids to be schooled from home. Healthcare workers with the elderly need to get another job if not vaccinated.
The fact of the matter is that there were literally hundreds, maybe thousands of deaths in long-term care and other health institutions because we had people working there who were unvaccinated. Now, in the early days, there was no vaccine available. But in many cases, even after the vaccine became available, people were still working, and in some cases going from institution to institution, house to house, and spreading the virus. So we know that unvaccinated people have killed, as I say, hundreds, probably thousands in this country. I'm sorry, but that is a fact. Certainly in long-term care, we had a terrible problem with unvaccinated people coming in and out. As I say, some people were working in two or three of these homes, so they would pick up a COVID in one house, they'd carry it to another, and people died by the thousands. Folks, almost 26,000 people have died in Canada from COVID. I mean, in 4 years, almost 5 years of the Second World War, we lost about 40,000 troops. In about 1 year with COVID, we've lost about 26,000. So some people try to shove this off. Oh, well, it wasn't all that serious. 26,000 deaths, many of them totally unnecessary. I have another question. This is totally different. I don't think I've ever asked this question before, and some of you say, what the hell is he asking that for? But let's get a little closer to home in some cases here. I say the time has come to finally start culling the Canada goose population, okay? This is serious stuff. We all know the terrible mess that geese are making in our parks. You ever tried to walk in a park lately? Our golf courses, holy stuff. Our waterways. You know, when Mooney's Bay and other beaches we're told that we can't swim there, there's E. coli. It's goose poop. A little bit of rain washes all that goose poop into the water, and we can't swim in our beaches. It's absolutely nuts. The Canada geese are listed as a protected species. Listen to this, folks, and this is a fact. Don't believe me, you can check it. The Canada goose population is almost doubling every single year. Just think of this in 10 years' time, how many there will be. I mean, they're overwhelming. The Canada goose situation was so serious in New Zealand, they were destroying thousands of acres of grazing for sheep. So finally, farmers who were going out and killing them were finally given the legal right to kill them. Many cities in the United States have given certain people the legal right to hunt them, and they actually take the carcass because they can be eaten. They're geese like anything else, and they're fed to they're certainly donated to various missions and homeless people, etc. But we've got to do something. They're just overwhelming us. Canada geese, at the very least, we should be allowed to break their eggs to stop the growth of population. If we don't, I mean, my God, yeah, it won't be that long until we simply cannot go to a park. I'd love to hear from some of you who have tried to walk in one of our parks lately. How about a golf course? Holy cats. It's awful, and it's getting worse. Their population is almost doubling. And by the way, I'll talk to Barry in a minute. By the way, if we're talking about birds that we've got thousands, crows are the most destructive species we have in the forests today and around us. I say, cull the Canada geese that are becoming an international scourge, and crows, which are going to wipe out the songbird population. Barry, let's hear from Barry here. We tried to get through yesterday. Our apologies about yesterday, Barry. Go ahead.
Not a problem, Lowell. Sounds like everything's getting back to normal there today.
I hope so.
I agree with you on the geese population and the crows. There's a huge congregation of crows here in the East End that always gathers by Coronation Park, and just literally everywhere you look on the grass, it's nothing but crows sometimes when they gather there. And they have quite an extensive family bondage or whatever you want to call it through the years. And I've heard said that crows, sometimes the young crows learn from their aunts and uncles and still get fed after they're about 5 years old, and will still be getting fed by their aunts and uncles.
There's no question crows are extremely intelligent. My complaint is, I mean, they do some littering, there's no question. They are destroying the songbird population. I'm going to tell you right now that the number one food now being consumed by crows are songbird eggs and baby songbirds. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, no, I can believe that, Lowell. And also a documentary I saw a few years ago that showed in the U.S. there's a big, huge pond or swamp in South Dakota, somewhere around there, or Minnesota. And the agriculture industry is suffering so bad because of all the migratory birds that go up north, whether it be geese, white geese, snow geese. There's just millions of birds going through there. And the U.S. Department of Agriculture estimated on a few different species that they would have to cull at least 2 million birds a year for almost 10 years to bring the populations down to a normal
Yeah,
place.
no, you're talking about Canada geese. This is there's all sorts of studies underway now. We've got to do something. I mean, their population is almost doubling every year. So you can figure out how many Canada geese are going to be in 10 years' time. Barry, I got to move on here, sir. Thank you. I'm glad you finally got through, my boy. John, we have some more texts, I understand.
Absolutely, we do. Okay, and we're kind of all over the place with three subjects on the table here. Mike says, why are doctors required to get vaccinated, but not nurses?
I have no idea. Is that true? I wasn't aware of that.
I don't know that that's true either. An email from Rob in Carlton Place. He says, I'm pleased to see pressure being put on politicians and anti-vaxxers. It's about time. We're seeing outbreaks in measles and whooping cough, diseases once eradicated from North America. We need to have this conversation, whether politicians like it or not. He's emailed back regarding geese. He says, I'm with you, Lowell. I walk in a riverfront park in Carlton Place. It is a carpet of goose poop. I can't believe how bad it is. And now we can't use the beach. It's contaminated. Craig says, cull the Canada goose, and the Americans will love us. Chrissy says, while we're at it, squirrels are a problem too. Cheryl says, what about seagulls? And
well, actually, you know what? Seagulls are just flying rats. As far as I'm concerned, they should shoot every damn seagull ever born. But then the seagulls are also raiding songbird nests, but not nearly to the same degree as crows. I don't think people understand the damage your crows are doing. If you're not seeing as many songbirds around as you used to, and you're not, It's the crows. The crow population is burgeoning, particularly around cities, built-up areas. They love that because they get some food from us as well. But it's the songbirds that they are destroying. More texts. Yes, John.
613-413-2217. Bruce types us a text to say, Professor Bram Brindle, University of Guelph, states that there may be some serious long-term side effects from mRNA vaccines. All right.
Oh, come on. Give me you know what? So we've got like 10 million doctors and nurses and health authorities and scientists and people who have been vaccinated all saying that, thank God I'm alive now because of the vaccine. But they found somebody, one guy, apparently in Guelph, that says, oh, well, that may cause problems. Kiss off. I mean, you know what? We've lost patience with you people. You don't want to be vaccinated? Okay. All right. You want to spread it around? You want to keep the thing alive? Okay. If you're that stupid, go ahead. Nothing we can do about it. But don't try to tell me about how dangerous it is. Bullshit. Yes, John, more text, please.
Boy, I can't keep up with the text today. It's coming in fast and furious. Hi, Lowell. Camping in St. Lawrence Parks is great, but the biggest problem is the goose poop everywhere, says Jason. And
you know what? I used to play golf down at, it's a beautiful golf course there. You can't play golf on that golf course. By the way, the taxpayers own that golf course. You can't play golf anymore. I mean, it's just covered with goose poop. You can't. Go ahead.
Lowell, the government on their website lists a goose management best practices webpage that, with a permit, allows you to destroy them. Ann says they don't like our geese in New Jersey, so they destroy their eggs. Way too many. Cheryl says we need to get a handle on the Canada Goose issue. I kept a hockey stick with me at work because the geese were mental, says someone on Twitch. Peter says Canada Geese took down the 747 in New York that time when Captain Scully landed the plane on the Hudson River a few years ago. And this just coming in moments ago from sorry, I guess it's Kim. This isn't about teachers, but about Afghans who helped Canadian troops during the war. They'll be slaughtered by the Taliban if they don't escape the country.
I'm afraid that some of them are being slaughtered now. I don't understand what the delay is. I mean, let's be honest. We may need to do some more research over there, but there are all kinds of people in Afghanistan right now that we know bloody well helped us. Interpreters, maids, those we know who they are. Why the hell are they still in Afghanistan? Why haven't we loaded them aboard? I mean, what's the big deal? Put them on a plane and bring them here, for God's sake. Why do these things always? You know what? I mean, you can take a suitcase. You can go down to the border, the Quebec border from northern New York, and you can walk across, and the Mounties will carry your bag for you. No problem with that. Don't even know for sure what the guy's name is. But can we bring people from Afghanistan who have helped us? Apparently, there's a big, long delay. Beats the hell out of me. Yes, Centennial Glass. I'll tell you what doesn't beat the hell out of me is how good Centennial Glass is. These people have been around, well, since 1967. That's why it's called Centennial Glass. Family-owned, locally owned, and they take such great pride in their work. We've had them here at our place on 2 emergency situations. They were just splendid, actually. Responded in one case on a bitterly cold Sunday, and they were here within an hour, all right, even though they had to come from the other side of the city. They're good people. But one of the things that I seldom talk about is how reasonable their pricing is. It's a large corporation, so they can deal, in bulk. So you'll be very pleased, I think, not only with the workmanship, but with the really good deals. And when they set a price, if you say, give me a price for windows, doors, whatever it is, the price that they set, doesn't matter what happens, they'll stick with it. These are good people. Centennial Glass on Industrial Avenue here in Ottawa and in Renfrew. John, we got some more there?
Oh, sir.
Time is up. Thank you all, folks. We got through. I want to thank you for your patience yesterday. And John, want to thank you for your special efforts there as well.
Glad to do it.
We'll have a special trophy here for you.
I just want a drink. That's all I want after this.
A pink Whitney?
You know it.
Well, we've got we have the pink lemonade. A
little vodka, we're good. I'll be right over.
All right, John. Thank you. We'll be back tomorrow.
The Lowell Green Show is seen and heard live around the world at 2 p.m. Eastern. Connect with us online at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. Can't join us live? Download the Lowell Green podcast. Available on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Ask your smart speaker to play the Lowell Green podcast. This is a production of blasttheradio.com.